My name is Vonda McDaniel. I'm president of the Central Labor Council of Nashville and Middle Tennessee. We represent about 40 different affiliates, about 20,000 working families. Trump's order on Tuesday that these meat packing were going to have to work because that was a part of national security is ridiculous. I mean, having pork and chicken, while some folks may want that, that's definitely not something that endangers our national security not to have. And so I think that workers are beginning to feel in danger for themselves and their families, and are really, thinking about what their options are. We have two Tyson poultry plants. One is in Goodlettsville, the other in Shelbyville. In Goodlettsville, in a week, the number of positive cases increased from 90 to 120. The numbers in the Shelbyville plant are not as easily accessible, but we're getting reports that there are at least 60 cases in that Shelbyville plant. And even the health department, we've been working with the health department to try to get at the Goodlettsville plant because there's no union representation there. And we're having a very difficult time trying to help the workers. The workers are feeling anxious and they seem to be afraid to come out of the shadows and report the cases on their own. And so it seems like every week out of that plant, we're getting more and more, reports of positive cases. Most of the workers in Shelbyville are immigrant and minority workers. It's a rural community in Shelbyville. Tyson is one of the major employers there. And so, the opportunities are just limited in that community. The Goodlettsville plant is a bit more diverse, but still the majority of workers there, Black and brown workers, many of them female in that Tyson plant. It's difficult to tell folks, that you need to stay home when you don't have any paid sick leave, and you don't have a whole lot of options, and the employers are not willing to help by paying folks when they're sick to stay home. Social tracing is important in this moment, and they need social distancing, which is not, they say that they're working on putting up barriers between workstations, but the fact of the matter is that they work in such close proximity to each other, and so social distancing is not possible. They are doing temperature checks. They are beginning to employ many of the CDC recommended things, but they're slow in coming, and it's just not a lot of time because as quickly as this virus is spreading.
Yeah.
What we are seeing is that rather than when they do get the courage to stand up and speak out, they are coming together collectively rather than as individuals. At first, you would get a news report of one here, one there, but the longer this goes on, the more they're like, you know what, we're gonna have to do something together to make this better. And so we are seeing more and more collective activity beginning to bubble up. The Shelbyville plant is represented by RWDSU, and so those workers are organized. There has been some outreach to the other plant, and I think that there are, I mentioned that there were 120 cases in the non-union plant. There are less. There are more than it should be, but there are less in the union plant. And I think that they're seeing that. And so, they're beginning to cross-pollinate and talk about their work situation. So I, 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 I feel that folks are just tired of putting their lives in jeopardy for what is relatively low wage jobs. We've been in contact with the RWDSU rep, and one of the things they're constantly monitoring, training their local like steward structure around how to handle these situations, how to really begin to do the contact tracing themselves and stay on top of, the cases and who's sick. I think that in the non-union plant, they have not organized and they don't have the structure to be able to really know what their rights are, know what kind of information they can demand. And so, I feel like that the cross-pollination is happening and will result in like more organizing activity in the future. I think this moment has kind of caused folks to see that they need more protections in terms of their work life, and that unions provide some of the core things that folks need.